Last time on Square Roots, we monkey around, overcome our shyness, open the door, get on the floor, and walk the dinosaur. Then we go all Instagram and broadcast our innermost thoughts for the world to see. Ness is the ultimate influencer.
Hi.
Oh.
Well. Get it? I get it, because he has psionic powers. Yeah.
Okay, start over. Hi.
Hi. And welcome to Square Roots. I am your host for this episode, John Brandon. And with me is... Wait, where is it? There's just a Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa, and welcome to Sierra Roots, the only show with just John and Vanessa.
Hi there, Vanessa.
Oh, no!
It's really great to see you.
Everyone's clicking unsubscribe. Stop!
Oh, I still want to do another Square Roots, but I feel like not on our main
another
feed.
Sierra Roots? Yes.
Sierra Roots, sorry.
We're going to tuck it away somewhere special.
Yeah, somewhere we have to look to find it. Maybe solve some puzzles.
Yeah, you have to use mouse on internet to, but like an actual mouse, like a fuzzy mouse.
It'd be funny if I could put like the hull of a ship in front of the podcast, and no one would know that it's actually behind this ship, and you have to like look around this desert island where the podcast is, and not even knowing the podcast is on this island until you find it by randomly walking behind the ship and like writing, I think, look down.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing idea.
Yeah, that's how
people
you find
should
it.
earn their podcasts. I think we take them too for granted these days.
I think someone told me there's a clue to that puzzle that got like edited out of the game.
Well, that's not good. You need your clues.
Yeah, because I don't know how anyone would have found that bridle.
Is it just
cheating.
like, did they have like a hotline that they had people call? You know, they used to do that, like
right.
the tip hotline, and then it would be like, $1 a minute or something like that.
Yeah. No, it was free. They had a free hint line.
What?
Oh, no. You know what? They had a pay. You're right. They had a paid hint line, but also a BBS, which gave you the answers for free.
Oh, if you had the internet. But I remember
if you had a modem,
playing pointy clicky games like that back in the day, and you have to like close the whole game, connect to your modem, sit through the whole and it took forever, and then you have to like wait for the website to load and then try to find the one with the hint that you want, and then you like get the hint. You have to write it down because you can't just switch between windows.
And it's long distance, so you are doing this as fast as possible.
Yeah. Awful. What a world we live in now.
Some questions.
Yes.
Question 1. Mm-hmm. What do we do on this podcast?
Oh, this is the podcast where we play a classic RPG, one Ocarina at a time, and then talk about it.
Question 2.
Yes.
Where are our co-hosts, the heterosexual Matt and Jim?
The heterosexual men are doing manly things like being late for the podcast or skipping it entirely. But I believe that Matt will be joining us at a unbeknownst time. He was out sporting, or let's see, what else do heterosexual men do? They like sports.
He's literally jumping a car, which seems pretty heterosexual to me.
Oh, yeah, that is 100% heterosexual.
You can't cross those cables like I did. Well, sort of.
Oh, no.
That was a whole thing. Well, it wasn't me. It was the guy I was dating.
Oh.
And I trusted him. I should have been like, no, let's just call a tow truck.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can do it. And then he shorted out like the entire wiring harness of my 1993 Pontiac Firebird V8.
Oh, that's a terrible story.
I know. It wasn't a good time.
Yes, so Matt will be joining us. Jim is living his jet set lifestyle, as he often does. He was in New York this weekend. We can just do Jim's level up for him, you know. He flew to New York. He did some important meetings. He went on a cruise around the Statue of Liberty.
Beautiful.
And now he is getting his stuff together to face another week of jet setting.
Oh, wow. I wish I could jet set.
Yeah, me too.
I always wanted a job where I traveled all the time because I like it. I like sleeping in hotels. I like getting a stipend for food.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're eating for free.
Mm-hmm.
And people are making your bed.
Yeah. I don't like flying economy anymore. But a lot of times if you have one of these lifestyles, you can get in like a club and get travel points and then be upgraded to business or whatever.
Okay.
So that's a thing. You know, I say I don't like flying economy. It's all I've ever flown. I don't know what it's like in business class, but probably better.
I've been upgraded to first class a couple of times, and it's real nice.
Yeah,
So much wine.
I've had the opportunity to be upgraded, but I was flying with Vanessa's mom, and so I gave it to her instead.
Aww. Well,
yeah.
Before we dive into the final chunker of EarthBound, we're gonna pad things out a bit by doing our level ups.
Yeah, I guess I already did Jim's. Sorry for going out of order.
Oh, boy. And our level up is where we talk about the skills and abilities gained during the week by our hosts. And since it's just the two of us, Vanessa, why don't you go first?
Okay, I leveled up my basic femininity by going to a bachelorette party. This was the kind of party where all the guests dress in like complementary colors and a similar scheme. And then the engaged woman wears a white dress and a sash that says something like, "Bachelorette, last bash, party time, I'm gonna get married." And we all wore flower crowns and drank a lot of wine and took a lot of pictures. Then we went to dinner.
I kind of want to see the sash that has that whole thing written out. It's just very small font. It was a long
sash, a very small font, and went all the way wrapped around the back. Yeah, and then that was all good. Like, I like my friends. I'm happy for the engaged one. It was a good, nice time. But then we went to, what's it called? It's a place very loud, very dark, flashy lights, many people wiggling about.
A bar?
Yeah, but like a
discotheque?
Yeah, like that kind of a club.
Oh, a club.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember what it was called. I only vaguely know where it was. But clubbing, like, I used to go to a place where they played all 80s music, and that was a good time. Like, that was totally my scene. But this was like contemporary music and very, very unka-chunk loud. The beat was dropped, and it's just not the kind of environment that I choose to frequent. So when I'm in a club, I have this sort of odd disconnect where it's like unique to me. So I just go into observation mode rather than like participation mode. And I observed like the security guards' patterns and was interested in the relationships of like people who were with each other and who weren't with each other. And it's very interesting. It's a sea of humanity. It's fun to see the people who want to dance but are too shy to like really be dancing, you know? So they just sort of like move a little bit, but are mostly standing in one place. There were shots. I don't know. I ran away at midnight. My friends were pretty impressed that I had stayed that long, and I came home. And that's how I leveled up.
Well, that's great. I'm very impressed you stayed past midnight. That's great.
I know, right? I mean, that's a huge deal for me. This dinner...
Did you see anyone trying to scam some chicks, as the expression goes?
I believe so. I mean, I was with a group of about, I think there were 6 women, including myself, and there was some kind of scamming, I suppose, going on. Is that what it's called when you talk to and touch the women?
I don't know. I think that's like when you pretend to be, you know, like that show about that guy who liked to lie to women, and it was hilarious in How I Met Your Mother.
I didn't watch How I Met Your Mother, but I have heard of it. There's
a character played by Neil Patrick Harris, and his bit was that he lied to women all the time.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a great idea because women are monsters and you should trick them all the time. So that's what I did. It was good. I think it's good to try something that is outside of your comfort zone from time to time. However, I believe that should I be given the option of clubbing versus my traditional board game night with cheese and wine at home, I'll stick to board game nights. So that's how I leveled up. Matt has finally joined us. I assume that the car is successfully jumped, or maybe not. Matt can tell us in his level up.
He's put all the oil in the carburetor. He's put the wheels on the axles.
He revved the engine. He filled the windshield wiper fluid tank with fluid. He
replaced the spark plugs.
He polished the interior. I don't know how to car. Matt, tell us about this car.
No, that's not your business.
Oh, but the listeners want to know.
You should not have set up an expectation for me to tell a story that is not interesting and not something I'm interested in talking about. Hello, listeners. It's Matthew.
Yay!
I leveled up by being here, I guess.
More like Manthew, because he does man things. And I see that
Jim is not here. What's going on?
Jim is not coming. But that's okay.
So Matthew, what's your real level up?
I went and saw Avengers Endgame again. Did you two see it? Can we talk about it now?
No. I'm going to go see it in like 3 hours.
I'm going to go see it next weekend, I think.
All right. Well, I saw it in not 3D, and it was even better not seeing it in 3D.
Not seeing in 3D?
Yeah, 3D.
Oh, no.
Is garbage. There is a new animated movie on the DC Universe app. For anybody that's interested, you should check it out. It's called Justice League versus the Fatal Five. And it appears to be done by, or at least in the style of, the Bruce Timm Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, and Justice League Unlimited
That's
style.
My favorite style.
Me too.
I actually know what you mean.
Has a story that touches on mental, what's the word I'm looking for? Not disabilities.
Health?
Mental illnesses, mental health. Yes, thank you both. A little bit. It uses a modern Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz, in an interesting role, and introduces maybe not. I'm not sure. So it introduces the Legion of Superheroes, classic DC Universe wacky comics. They're the Justice League of the year 3000 maybe, or 30,000 maybe. And they used that to good effect. It was fun. It's on the DC Universe app and probably elsewhere. And I liked it, a lot, I guess. I don't know.
What are the Sinister Five? Is it like your Joker, your Lex Luthor?
No, they're the Fatal Five, and they're villains from from the Legion of Superhero era. I actually didn't have much in the way of familiarity with them, but they were, the bad guys. They had a sinister plan. Spoiler alert: that plan is foiled, and the bad guys win. But it brings back all of the good voice actors from that Tim universe, who I've never been good with names, but everybody loves,
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, Kevin Conroy, who plays Batman. And who is it that plays Superman?
Kevin Conroy?
Oh, is it? I don't know.
I don't know. All I know is Kevin Conroy.
Kevin McAllister. Chet Layton.
Keep vamping, John. You're doing the Lord's work. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Arthur from Arthur.
Kevin Conroy, George Newbern as Superman, and the rest. So it was really fun. I sound less than enthused about it, I guess, but that's because I'm not quite in recording mode. But yeah,
we dunked you in like into a dunk tank.
Yeah, It's left me very frazzled. I don't like it.
Like a clown.
I'm going to make you both pay for this in the worst way I can imagine.
Oh, no.
That's right.
You're going to murder us?
No.
Are you going to subject us to puzzles, and the puzzle is like, find the key that I've buried inside your arm?
You know what has been a lot of fun for me? I'm going to go ahead and I need to wake up a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and stretch my level up out.
Well, you could just let me level up.
Hey, John, how did you level up? I guess you haven't leveled up yet. I would not have any way of having known that, but...
No, I haven't leveled up yet.
I do want to know how you leveled.
There's one word
Rude,
to describe.
John. How dare you interrupt me?
My ex-girlfriend.
Wait, what?
What?
My ex-girlfriend.
Wait, what?
What?
Is crazy.
Oh, she is so crazy.
Crazy.
Now, is she crazy in that, like, potentially causes harm to herself or others kind of way, or is she crazy in that sings a lot way?
Both.
Oh.
Very specific. I mean,
the show tune murderer, they call her.
Well, they call her the rooftop killer in this season. And she did do some self-harm, quite a bit. So, a little bit of both, unfortunately. Even though she didn't kill anyone.
No. So what season are you on?
Season 4. The final season. It wasn't available, like, seasons 2, 3, and 4, or 2 and 3 were not available in Canada until the show wrapped. And now, finally, iTunes has all 4 seasons. So
fantastic.
I just bought season 4.
Yes. It's, I loved that show. I related probably too much to the main character.
Oh, no.
But... I mean, not to that extreme, but, it's like I like to sing.
Uh-huh.
I have some probably unhealthy habits.
Mm-hmm.
I push people off roof. I mean, but, yeah, great show.
It's very good. I do feel like there's not enough musical numbers this season. I think they kind of tamped down on them. I'm only like a quarter of the way through or something, or a third of the way through.
Did feel like there weren't any like really amazing songs.
No, I did like The Cringe. That's a fun one. As someone who frequently, we've talked about before, thinks back to stupid things I've done because my brain hates myself. And there's a song about that. Although I feel like that song could have been, it was starting out so good and relatable, but then kind of went into a silly direction that didn't work. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, you should have had more real life examples and not silly murder examples and stuff.
Yeah. What do you think about New Greg?
Who?
New Greg.
Well, I'm only a few episodes in. That hasn't happened yet.
Oh, I thought it was the first episode of the season.
No.
Oh, okay.
There's no Gregs whatsoever.
All right.
Paula has said, I want to go And or we need to circle back to Greg. That's all the Greg mentioning that is done so far. Paula is great. I think the song about her never believing in her son was amazing. Yeah. That feels very relatable.
Mm-hmm. Paula is an amazing character and the best singer on the show, I would say.
Oh, for sure.
Hands down. And did you know that actress apparently won, like, the international tap dancing competition, like, 9 times or something ridiculous like that?
Is that Donna Lynn Chapman?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
She, I guess, is, like, queen of the tap dancers. Who knew?
And this episode's doing something or this season's doing something fun with the titles, which makes the titles of all the previous episodes from the previous seasons make more sense, because it kind of puts them into a new context of her mental state and where she's at.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Tell me more.
Well, it's a little bit of a spoiler, so skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear. The previous ones were about boys and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like Josh does this. I think maybe Nathan.
Oh, right.
Does that in the next season. And this one's about, like, I'm sorry, I did this. I'm moving on. So it's about her. Unlike the previous seasons where it's all about someone else.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a cute little detail, and it's sort of about her not getting over, because you can't get over mental illness, but just trying to interact with it more healthily.
Yeah. It really does an amazing job of, I mean, it's a comedy, but its depiction of mental health is really strong, I feel like.
I have one bone to pick with the show.
Okay, pick it.
I have more than one, but there's an episode I just watched where Heather, this younger character, has a really crappy car, and she's giving a lift to a rich man, and he's like, if you liked yourself more, you would get yourself a nice car. And then at the end of the episode, she gets herself a nice car. Okay, this is written by not 28-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, what is the moral there? No, she had a working car. It's actually more practical for her to keep that until it dies.
Yeah.
Like, if he'd said, hey, I know a good mechanic will give you a good deal on fixing that, I would have been like, that is a good end to this. That
right.
She's taking better care of her car so that it's safe.
Yeah.
Or if he got her, he knew someone with like a 2005 Civic, but not a brand new Honda Civic. Mm-hmm. Come on. What are they doing?
Well, everyone's favorite current queen of the world, Lizzo, wrote an opinion piece about self-care. I believe I don't remember. So just Google Lizzo opinion piece. You'll find it. And she talks a lot about how self-care has been sort of sold to us as things that you buy for yourself, like mimosas or spa days or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she talked about self-care being a sort of everyday battle of self-acceptance. Like you wake up and you accept who you are and what you have and that it's good. And I really liked that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a co-opting of self-care from like, hey, because, you know, you're having, from people with mental illness and people who are activists and stuff, not paying attention to their own health. Mm-hmm. And then it became like buy yourself expensive things and facial masks.
Right. Well, because there'll always be people trying to sell us things. And I think women often especially feel this way. I know I do. It's like people sell you weight loss things because you're not good enough. And then people sell you self-care things because you're feeling like you're not good enough. So then you should use these self-care things. And it's all just about making you feel like something's missing in your life so that you fill it with material things.
Hey, who are you going to call, Vanessa?
I'm going to call my dad.
It's time to call your dad.
So we start out, we've gone through this, they got all of the sound stones or the sound spots and recorded the tunes, and then all the tunes mashed together in a big old mash 'em up, and suddenly, Ness remembers his childhood so vividly, he's brought inside his mind.
Mm-hmm. Happens to us all sometimes.
Exactly. So, we end up in a land of imagination and memories.
Ooh.
It's even got like a little bit of the Inside Out with one character.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was very sweet. So, this is his imagination populated with his memory of people throughout his life.
And he is all alone in there because only you can enter your own mind.
And
It's
prevent
true.
forest fires.
Unfortunately,
And it's called magic
I
cans.
should have packed some items to make this easier. Like that sea pendant that makes you invulnerable to a bunch of status attacks
Yeah.
and stuff. I didn't do that.
Oh, no.
So, this was kind of hard. I think this is the hard... I died at the boss fight, so... Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
died
you
in
mentioned.
random encounters, too. This is tricky.
Yeah, I had a tough time
This
with
is
it too,
tricky.
and I'm even using the power of Andraste.
Yeah, so you wander around your psyche.
Yeah, I had a tough time with it too, even using the power of Andraste.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A rough
there are characters that can insta-kill you,
Mm-hmm.
which is not great.
No.
Especially if you only have one character.
Yeah, but the game is pretty... I mean, it's not forgiving in its difficulty levels, but it does give you a chance to get back up on your feet and try again.
Mm-hmm. Did you meet any interesting characters in Ness's psyche?
I met my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Nessa's mom, I suppose I should say.
Mm-hmm.
She is like hanging out with sister in just like a little mock living room, I guess, in the middle of a field. And they do all the things that they usually do, like sister stores items or gives them to you, and mom restores your health.
There's no dad.
There's no dad. You have to call him.
Yeah. I was in their house and I found this small bird that was like, oh, you don't normally think of me. And it was very sad. It reminded me of like forgotten childhood toys from Inside Out.
Aw, that's very sweet.
So, we walk around talking to like friends and family and elements of your subconscious. And what I like is like there's flowers that talk about looking towards the sun. It was very Undertale took some stuff right out of this section.
Mm-hmm.
Them flowers are from Undertale.
Mm.
And there's some snowmen you can talk to that talk about it's like, I melted, but we had a good time together.
It's all very melancholic and bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
Because through this journey, Ness has really given up his childhood.
Exciting stuff. You walk around and there's a weird lineup of all these people you've met. They're just standing in a line for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty funny. One of those Bun statues is walking around.
There's weird geography and carrots.
Yep.
It's the size of trees.
Whenever you speak to someone, the whole landscape changes color.
Yeah, except it's not everyone, it's just some people.
Yeah, it's very neat though. I love the effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty fun area.
It's almost like interacting with different people can give you a different perspective on the world.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. How's that for insight?
Very smart.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Very Vanessa.
I'm a smarty.
So finally, you see what was his name? Skymaster, the old man who was guiding Pooh.
I don't remember his name, but I remember he took my legs off.
Yeah, that guy. He shows up and he's like, well, you got to fight some enemies here and fight your internal evil.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go through a dungeon that is pretty hard.
Oh, but you can take a friend.
Who are these friends you can take?
You can take the flying men.
Mm-hmm.
Who are like bird boys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got beaks.
Hey, birdie
They all
boys.
live in a house with a sign that says flying men.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they represent Ness's courage or something like that.
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they claim.
5 of them. So if you go back, because what happened to me was I went back because one of them died and then took another one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and also you see, so outside of the Courage House is Buzz's gravestone.
Oh, Buzz.
And every time you let a flying man die, another gravestone of theirs.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's awful.
Terrible.
Yep.
Buzz. He was our best friend.
I know. Buzz has done so much.
Mm-hmm. None of this would be possible without Buzz.
You're walking through this and you're being attacked by like question marks and presents and stuff. And so there's loaded dice. There's some of these question marks are easy because they're like, these molecule men that don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. You get tons of experience. They will not hurt you. So you can just kill them.
Do they call for friends, or is that the dice that I'm thinking of?
The dice calls for friends. The molecule men try to cast magic on you, but it doesn't work.
Oh.
Which is pretty funny.
Yeah, stupid molecules.
Yeah. But there's some really deadly enemies there, too. So it's kind of tricky.
Like those eyeballs.
Yes, and I got killed by them.
Uh-oh.
Yes. But then you just go back to your mom's house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine. And then I got killed by the Manny statue.
Oh, no!
Which is representing the evil inside of all of us.
Yes, the Manny statue, which we get to by talking to a tentacle.
Mm-hmm.
Which then, I guess, wraps itself around us in a loving embrace and
hot
drags us down through the earth to the Sea of Eden.
Penetrates the earth with us.
Yeah. And in the Sea of Eden, there are a whole bunch of them krakens.
What's Kraken?
Them krakens is Kraken. They're not very hard, though, I thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've leveled up or cheated, they're not very hard. So I leveled up, so they're very easy.
And Matt cheated.
Who? What? No cheating. I just prayed and utilized the power of Andraste.
Andraste.
Right.
I don't know if you know this, but praying makes games easier, as we learned.
It does.
That's true.
Of this game.
So the Manny statue this time has an instant death spell, which is not great.
No, not when you're like by yourself, essentially.
I'm not a fan of a boss that could just randomly kill you.
No, it's not good game design.
No, so I had to go back, grab another flame friend or flying man, and do this dungeon again. At least I got super leveled up, so that's good.
Yeah.
And you defeat the evil inside you, and then slowly, you get from all the music. They all play and give you super level ups. Mm-hmm. So Ness becomes like crazy overpowered. I like that.
Yeah, and he stays overpowered essentially through the end of the game.
It's like the end of... Do you ever play Half-Life 2 where you become really overpowered at the end when the gravity gun gets like supercharged?
I played it, but I never finished it.
The ending's pretty fun because the gravity gun becomes it can only pick up objects, but now it can pick up people.
Ooh,
it's
Should we
pretty
play
fun.
Half-Life for the show next?
Yeah, that's a good RPG.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like we may be stretching the boundaries a little bit there. We should play Deus Ex soon though. That'd be fun. Anyway, Zelda. Excuse me, princess.
Excuse me, princess.
For the next episode, I just want us to all say that anytime Vanessa says anything.
How dare you?
Excuse me, princess.
You are not excused.
Excuse John, Vanessa.
I'm so hungry, I could eat a whole Octorok.
Maybe I'll go dig up some of those YouTube cartoons and so I have something to talk about on my next goddamn level up instead of just like, I got out of bed today.
All right. So you get empowered by all the songs you've heard and all the places you've been to.
They give you
and
mini
are
stat boosts.
Super Ness. Yeah. Now you are Super Ness.
Yay!
Sure.
Now you're playing with power.
Exactly. Nintendo power.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why his name is Ness?
I thought about that when I was playing last night.
I always assumed that was the reason.
So, you wake up and you are back in the fire spring and all your friends are around you. And, a voice in your head, who is yourself, told you that you have to go to Mr. Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
You just have a feeling that is where something has changed and you need to go immediately.
Yeah, our good friends, the Dangle Bells.
So you teleport with the new teleport power that Matthew told me about last time. Teleport 2.
So when you finally get the chance to use it, the game has literally like slapped you in the face with it.
Yes.
Too funny.
And you end up in the Saturn Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And there is what looks like a big metal Mr. Saturn.
Yep. It is
It
a Saturn mobile.
Kind of looks like my head because of the eyebrows.
Well, it's in like profile, so
Yeah. Kind of looks like my profile.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Andonuts is there, and he seems to be like, the plot has skipped a few chapters.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, as you all know, our Phase Distorter 1 got stolen by Pokey.
Yeah. And I'm like, what?
What?
The what now?
Huh? And so now I've made a Phase Distorter Mark II, except that we need a chunk of meteorite. Do you know where we could find a meteorite?
And you're like, as a matter of fact, let me think all the way back to the beginning of the game. I do know where to find a meteorite.
Mm-hmm. Back in Onet.
You do try to use the thing without the meteorite, and you hop inside, and it just, like, cooks you, I guess.
Yep. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. For some reason, one of the minor brothers from outside of Forsyth is there. I was trying to figure out for a long time who that guy was, because he looks like Fred Flintstone. Mm-hmm. It's one of the minor brothers from outside Onet.
Oh, interesting. I guess he's just hanging out.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And Dr. Ananuts keeps talking to you about stuff that doesn't really make sense and seems to have, skipped a few chapters of the game. But
well, I sort of like that Dr. Andonuts is like, oh yeah, I've been doing all of these other adventures. Well, you've been doing that thing. And of course you know about all of them.
Uh-huh. And he's been collecting all these other characters with him.
Sidebar.
Ooh. Glug, glug, glug.
The main character in Mother, the game that preceded
the movie that I love,
EarthBound, is named Ninten.
Oh.
Also, Ness could be Ness, like a Nintendo Entertainment System, or it could just be a anagram of SNES, because it is spelled Ness.
That's true.
SNES. Now you have learned things. You're welcome. Sidebar
Thank
over.
you. So we're back in Onet, and now it is full of deadly monsters.
Mm-hmm.
They are pretty tricky, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. The game got legit difficult from here on out for me, which was shocking.
Yeah.
Because I am magical.
There's enemies that explode, enemies that do lots of status effects on you, enemies that are just jerks, have shields that reflect damage.
Yeah, that reflecting stuff is what really just kills me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I just tried to avoid as many encounters as possible and just ran to the meteorite, as one does.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, "Do you want to put your hand in there and pick up a small shard of meteorite?" And you do, and nothing seems to happen.
You're like, heck yeah, I'm putting my hand in.
Mm-hmm. Zexonite. Oh, I forgot that Apple Kid was there with. Was it Apple Kid? Or was it Orange Kid?
It was Apple Kid was there with the professor.
Right. Anyway, we head back to Saturn Village.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
And
what is Piggly Jelly? I didn't get any of those.
Piggly Jelly, a good snack that recovers like 300 hit points or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they start selling it like only at this point in the game, I think.
But I think, where is it that sells brain food? I think that's in Dalam, right?
Yeah, and brain food is the best.
Yeah, you just go back and buy all the brain food, because I kind of I ran out of PP because I kind of messed up the boss fight and made it take an hour longer than it should have.
Oh, no.
The final boss, until I figured out what I was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. But yeah, get some items. Chad Mozart, notorious nemesis of the show, recommends that you get all the multi-bottle rockets that Jeff can carry.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can buy those in Salam or Scaraba?
I don't remember.
I know there's a weapons dealer near the Lost Underworld, or near the Deep Darkness that sells it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, now you are ready to go to the final encounter.
Final encounter. Dun, 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 dun.
And the game tells you lots of times, make sure you have everything, because it's going to be hard to go back.
Yep, this is the final encounter. Alert, alert, alert. I appreciate it when games do that.
Yes, me too. So you climb on into the ship and warp to that weird cave in the Lost Underworld, the one with the weird music I talked about before.
And your thingy gets smashed.
Yes, it does. Because, there's some weird time travel stuff, so that, no, your thingy doesn't get smashed.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, but there's Mr. Saturn there with the Phase Distorter Mark 1.
Right.
And your thingy can still be used as both a hotel and a save point.
Right. And I had to do that when I ran out, when I died.
Did you run out of PP?
I did run out of PP, even though Ness has like 600 PP.
Wow.
Well, he has an attack that uses 100, so it can go pretty fast. So before we get there though, you can't, there's a problem with the phase distorter. This is probably a big plot point that we need to talk about. Humans can't safely travel in the phase distorter Mark II.
No, the Mark II is what we took. The Mark III is what Andonuts and Applekid are there with, right?
Yeah, but to get you need to go there in the Mark II.
No, you need to go there in the Mark III.
Oh, you're okay. Well, then tell me what happened, because I'm misremembering this.
I think this is what happened, is that you take the Mark II to this cave, and you wander around the cave. You find the smashed up remains of the Mark I. And then you run into Applekid and Dr. Andonuts, and they have the Mark III.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an issue.
Well, what's the issue?
Well, the issue is the Mark III is very good at traveling through time and space, like a TARDIS. And we have got to take it and travel through time to go defeat Gigas. However, organic matter does not survive the journey.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So
it's a suicide mission.
Nothing living can go in this machine. Not even that, because...
I mean, it says that you can't survive the journey, so you can go in it. You're just going to die on the way.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're going to die.
Yeah, it makes me very confused as to how they got there. Because I thought that they had taken it, but they seem okay.
Where did the phase distorter take us the first time?
It takes you to that weird cave in...
But why did we need the phase distorter to go to that cave?
I honestly
just go to that cave.
Don't know.
It's all very odd. Anyway, Dr. Andonuts, famous for creating Dungeon Man, has a great body horror plan for you. And his plan...
He has a great body horror plan for you and his son.
Yes. His plan is to turn you all into beep-boop robots.
Now, he says he's just going to take your spirit and program your consciousness into the robot.
Yeah.
But it makes sounds like he's drilling into your head and taking out your brain.
Yeah. This is very much like in Rogue Galaxy, when the doctor took the spirit of his little dying son and put it into Steve the robot body.
You're right.
So that's what he does. You're a robot now. And not just like they say you're a robot, but you look the same. You're a robot.
I like that before you turn into a robot, he takes Ness's hat so that he can put it on the lead robot. So you know which one's Ness.
And they are all just these identical clinky clank robots.
Uh-huh. It's kind of adorable, actually.
It's kind of great because
it's kind of insane.
You've gone through this whole journey, and then it's finally time to face the final boss, and it's not even the characters you've been playing as facing the final boss. It's just robot versions of them.
So now you are robots, and you are able to go back in time.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go back in time.
And we're gonna find
Why do we
Pokey.
have to go back in time?
Because Pokey has gone with Gygus back in time to screw everything up.
Gygus is attacking from the past, is how they keep phrasing it over and over again.
Yeah, it's like a real Lavos.
It's a real Edge of Tomorrow.
Ah, no, that's not how that worked.
That's true.
It's not a real Edge of Tomorrow. I mean, if you want to say Majora's Mask is, that would make sense.
I haven't played Majora's Mask.
So we will, we go back to this weird grayscale Macintosh-looking dungeon. We fight final Starmen and other Starmen.
And Ghost of Starmen.
Yep.
Vanessa, how did you feel about the ghosts?
I was okay because they were clearly ghosts. It did not try to trick me.
You know, it could have tricked you because they don't look like ghosts. They just look like black and red Starmen.
That's true, but they're clearly labeled.
There's also these nuclear reactors that, one, heal anything on screen, any enemy on screen, and two, will explode if you kill them. Mm-hmm. And normally you'd save the exploding enemies for last, but in this case, if they are paired with a final Starman, you need to kill that nuclear reactor first, or the final Starman will kill you. Mm-hmm. Because that final Starman has a spell that can just insta-kill people.
Uh-huh.
And he has, like, that Starstorm and Sandstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it's called.
It's too hard.
It's pretty hard. This dungeon killed me. And I'm, like, fairly leveled up. I didn't have all the super items. Like, I got, like, the final bat that's in this dungeon. Mm-hmm. Which seems pretty good. Legendary bat. But apparently there's a better one that you can find.
I got something to say about ghosts, and it's an aside. So brace yourselves for a little break. I've been playing a game called Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
It's about ghosts.
It's not about ghost. There's no ghost, but then I ran into I guess it was a glitch, where I went back to a place in the game where I had killed a major character. Like, definitely killed him. He was dead. And the dude was just standing there.
You stupid idiot.
Like, totally unarmed in the same spot. And I was like, what is this? Who is this guy? And then as soon as he saw me, he started punching me with his fists because he didn't have any weapons.
So was that a ghost or a glitch?
I don't know, but it was just like punch, punch, punch. So
I mean, John, what's the difference, really?
Oh, that's
Well,
true.
in the Matrix, ghosts are glitches, remember?
Right. So I tried to knock this ghost out and recruit him to work on my ship, but it just, like, I was able to knock it out, and then it just lay there. And I was like, well, I'm not just leaving this ghost, so I killed it again. So I don't know if I saw a ghost or a glitch or some kind of combination of the two, but it was very spooky. That's my aside.
my aside is that I was daydreaming about making a Matrix spinoff about Switch, because I feel like she was done dirty by that movie and should have her own film.
Which one, Switch?
She was the lady Matrix fighter lady with blonde hair and the white coat.
Oh yeah, the one who sort of like made no sense as to what she was doing in this movie.
Well, she just gets killed.
Yeah.
I want to make a movie about her.
I think you should.
With the Wachowskis.
Yeah. Call up them ladies and be like, "What's up? It's John. I got an idea." And they'll be like, "Okie dokes."
We're from Minnesota.
Oh, hi.
Are they from Minnesota?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, back to the game. So we fight through some very difficult enemies and make our way to, well, I thought it was the final boss when I saw this weird gray sphere. It's like, oh, finally, the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a teleporter.
Yeah.
And you do 2 of those, and then finally you get to a weird cave. And inside this cave is what looks like macaroni.
I thought it looked like intestines.
I think it is intestines. You are walking on intestines until you get to this cosmic horror that is guarded by your old friend Pokey.
Yeah. The cosmic horror, it looks to me like a whole stew of intestines with one big blinking butthole in the middle.
On which your head appears.
Yes.
Like you're a dungeon man.
Opens its eye, or spreads its hole, or however you want to phrase it.
Oh, God.
And in the hole is Ness's head.
Why?
I didn't understand this part.
What? What? So
Pokey's there, and I guess Pokey's like the big evil, not Gygus. I got real confused.
Well, Pokey
Who's in
still has
control?
his mind, and Gygus has become insane with the amount of power that it's
Yeah,
using,
like
or-
Gygus is evil now, and Pokey is sort of controlling it or guiding
And Pokey's
it.
got
I
a
don't think
robot
Pokey's
suit.
controlling it. I think he's like its servant.
Or like a fanatic of some sort.
It's at this point gone insane and is just destroying the world. And now Pokey, I don't know what the fuck happens here.
Why does Pokey want to destroy the world? Because
Now,
of his
you know,
abusive
Pokey
father?
has been corrupted, much like all of the enemies. Particularly, remember early game, we were fighting a bunch of were they corrupted people?
Yeah, and I think Pokey got the worst of it because he was right next to the meteorite.
But is the
Maybe.
meteorite? What's the meteorite got to do with Gygus?
I think Gygus like hitched a ride on the meteorite. I think.
Yeah.
But what is Gygus?
Evil.
Ancient evil. And you look upon the face of Gygus and go insane.
Mm-hmm.
So Gygus is you, kind of, but I assume that we're just meant to, I assume that it's not Ness, it's just like mirroring Ness because they're
it's like
opposites.
a wobbly picture of Ness.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
I think it lends credence to my theory that this is all an imaginary game that they're playing, and when you play with your friends, someone's got to be the bad guy.
I guess so.
I don't really think that. I'm just being
Oh.
facetious.
But he does have a cool mech.
But yeah, in the first battle, this is a
Where does Pokey
three-part
get the
battle,
mech?
I think, and the first thing you have to do is take out Pokey and his UFO mech thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did someone build a mech for Pokey?
Or he fuck you up.
Yeah, and Gygus
John's
sort
frozen.
of attacks you while that happens, but he doesn't...
Paula can do a psi shield that will block the Gygus' psi attack, so that's pretty helpful, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
At least it worked for me through this first bit of the boss fight, if I remember correctly. Once I
Right.
defeated Pokey, then it was just, I don't know, actually by the time I defeated Pokey, I was out of PP almost, so I had saved a little bit of PP to sprinkle on Paula in case she fell. You know how you pee on your friends need PP when they fall. So
I didn't know that much about the end game Earthbound, except I knew that you win by having Paula pray. So I was like, mash the prey.
The boss of the game was a baby.
What?
I wonder if that's Mother 3 or if I just read some dumb fucking theory and thought it was actually a description of the game.
Thinking about Parasite Eve?
That was a baby.
Yeah, that was a baby.
Crawling after you?
Yeah, I remember.
Or were you thinking about the film Boss Baby?
I haven't seen it, but I support its
existence. I've seen it a bunch and the show it's based on. And it's, it's Alec Baldwin. Whatever,
what do you mean
it's
it's based on a show?
There's a
Netflix show.
Movie
that's Netflix's new thing is doing shows of DreamWorks movies. And they don't seem to even really tie into the movies at all. They're not like, as far as I can tell, they're not like sequel series. Mm-hmm. They just kind of make shows out of the same material. There's a Boss Baby. There's a Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. There's a, what's the Dragon-y ones? They've got several of those, I think.
How to Tame Your Dragon?
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff. I don't watch any of it, but my kids watch some of it, obviously.
Disney used to do that. There'd be like the Aladdin Adventures or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They did a Beauty and the Beast one, too.
With Dan Castellaneta.
Mm-hmm. You know, they refused to do a Lion King show until they finally gave in to demand and did it, and they did a half-assed Timon and Pumbaa Lion King show that wasn't good, and then years later they finally did one that's about Simba's son or something, and it's like, guys, like, you had the opportunity there for a few years to make a cartoon that maybe would have been huge because it was based on the biggest property on the planet, and instead you thought you'd play the fucking long game, and nobody gave a shit about any of it.
How y'all feel about this live-action Lion King?
I have mixed feelings because part of me is not interested in live-action remakes and doesn't think this looks particularly good, but part of me hears the music for Can You Feel the Love Tonight and almost starts crying because it's so goddamn tied into my childhood. So I don't know. I feel weird about it, but I'll probably see it.
My hot take is that I really didn't like The Lion King.
Really? Like,
yeah,
I had the
soundtrack
memorized. I had it on tape. I listened to it all the time. My friends and I sang it to each other. It was the biggest thing on the planet for me and my group of friends as a whatever-year-old, 11-year-old.
Yeah, it was never my favorite. And then with the Broadway version, got like into that. But I just don't feel a need to see this new one at all.
Oh, maybe it's not made for us.
Well, maybe it's not, and that's okay. Not everything needs to be for me.
For children.
No, how is it made for children? Like, everything's scary and ugly and like what kids are into the realism stuff? Not mine. None of their friends. Nobody I know. None of their kids. None of it.
What about the live-action Aladdin movie? Who's that made for?
Who is that made for? Because it looks bad.
It looks like a very special episode of Xena. Like one where they really went all out with the budget.
Will Smith doesn't feel like a very good... I don't know that recasting anyone in that particular role as the genie was a good idea. Not a knock on Will Smith, though. Will Smith used to be literally my favorite actor, and now I, tune out of almost anything he's in. He gave up. He's like Bruce Willis. Mm-hmm. He stopped. He doesn't care anymore.
Mm-hmm. And Harrison Ford.
He shows up, but just because he's there doesn't mean it's going to be good. Whereas Will Smith used to be a guarantee that this movie's going to be good.
Yeah.
There was a preview for this Gemini Man movie on TV. Gemini, and it is Will Smith versus a de-aged Will Smith.
What?
Like clone. So the movie stars Will Smith in both roles, basically, a young version and a current age version of himself. Mm-hmm. It looks bad.
Didn't they do that already with Bruce Willis?
Looper. Yeah, I guess that's... No, because Bruce Willis didn't play himself. It was Jonathan Gordon-Levitt JGL?
Joseph
Gordon-Levitt. They put some weird prosthetics on his face to make him look more like Bruce Willis.
To make him look like George.
I feel like the minute Disney started working on this de-aging technology that they've been de-aging and aging, that, they just used it in Captain Marvel with Nick Fury. John's staring at me like, please stop talking about this, but I can't. I feel like this idea was inevitable. Like, there's been action movies where like somebody has to fight an old version of themselves, which is just them in makeup. Mm-hmm. And this is just the opposite. So obviously it was going to happen, but Will Smith just not an actor that excites anyone anymore, I think. All right, I'm done. Also, we are in the middle of talking about the final boss battle and just went off on a total fucking tangent.
So, okay, let's really try to talk through what happens in this boss battle, because I legit found this confusing. So you start off fighting Pokey. There's a wall with your face on it. You then kill Pokey once and he disappears and it comes back without your face on it. And then Pokey comes back and you kill Pokey again. And then you're just fighting the wall eventually. Mm-hmm. But then Pokey comes back. And then,
but you never fight Pokey again. He just pops in and out to act as the voice for the mouthpiece for Gygas.
Right. So, he flips his devil switch or whatever it's called.
Yeah, he turns off his devil machine, what is that supposed to mean to anyone?
I have no idea.
Don't know. Who's talking to you through this fight? Is it Pokey, the one going like, Ness, 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 Ness?
I thought that was Gygas.
Happy.
Because Gygas is just like a brainless monster, but you can see from its having your face on it, I think it's kind of mirroring you, and it's weird.
Mm-hmm. And when it turns into a big, zoomy bowl of spaghetti that's like flashing in and out, that's when you can start praying.
Yes.
Yeah, it starts, so the whole screen turns into this staticky red and black mess, but faces come through it. Mm-hmm. Like faces pop in and out of the static in a spooky way.
It's sort of a Edvard Munch, the Scream face.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like that Pokey's like, well, if you see the true face of Gygas, you'll go insane.
Ooh.
But it's just like a zoomy Scream face.
And he's doing attacks on you, and you don't know what the attacks are.
Mm-hmm. You can't comprehend them.
Yeah, the text that happens when Guy gets attacks is like, you can't comprehend this attack, but they only do like 100 damage.
Yeah, or they kill you.
I think I drained him of PP because this part of the fight, I didn't realize at first I had to start praying. I was all out of PP, but I still did several thousand damage to him over the course of several minutes, and like he wasn't really doing much in the way of damage at this point.
Yeah, you can drain him.
Oh.
Drain the PP out of him?
Mm-hmm. I found that you could also use like brain scan or whatever the ability that Pooh has, and that will disrupt him for a turn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
Which is useful because he just kept killing. Well, he kept killing Jeff and Pooh over and over and over again, and that was like I was distracted from praying, which is what you should be doing. So basically, Pokey or Gygas says, like, what are you going to do? Call for help? There's nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. And so this is your cue to try the Paula command, which you never use, pray.
And I pray. Oh my God, do I pray.
You got to pray to make it today.
Every night and day.
Pray every single day
for a revolution.
So yeah, and it got me thinking, like, Will Smith back in like 96, him playing against himself in a movie would be amazing. But
yeah,
Will Smith in 2019 is like a fucking super boring version of himself.
And, when you pray, it cuts back to Saturn Valley, and everyone's kind of milling around, but then Dr. Andonuts suddenly feels like he could hear his son being in danger and starts praying for his health.
Probably for the first time in his life, he starts thinking about his son and what he can do for him.
Then you pray again, and someone's praying. Paula asks for strength, and then it cuts to like, who does it cut to? It cuts to like
this
people at the
9
preschool.
times.
It cuts to the runaway
9
5.
fucking times.
It cuts to
Paula's
your mom.
parents. It cuts to your mom. It cuts to probably
random people
the Mr. Saturns,
Frank. Yep.
Well, it cuts to the band.
Yep.
Jeff's
That's pretty
best
fun.
friend. What's his name?
Oh, Tony. At school,
Tony.
prays for you. And then the last one.
Mm-hmm.
The
last one was pretty good.
This is some nonsense, but I liked it.
Because I know you were wondering about where this was going.
Yes.
But, first, before that, there's one time you pray, but the darkness blocks it. So I thought, I was like, oh, that's it. Now I have to kill the boss. So that's where I spent an hour trying to kill the boss.
No.
I didn't try that one last time.
I spent
Something
about
like
10 minutes before I was like, something's wrong. I should look this up.
I was doing tons of damage, and Jeff and Pooh kept dying, and then I was like, I'll just let them be dead. I used up all my healing and magic restoring items. Then I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I should try one more pray, just to see what happens. So, Vanessa.
Yes.
What happens when you do this final pray?
I won't tell you.
What?
I won't tell you.
Why?
Because I don't know.
What?
Gigas killed me, and then I didn't want to go through and do it again.
Wait, she didn't finish the... You didn't finish the game again?
Wow.
Vanessa didn't finish the game. Talk about Vanessa didn't finish the game. All right, well, you pray, and the last time, what happens, John?
Okay, I really like this. So first it says like dash O dash 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 starts praying, and then it says dash J dash dash or J dash 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 starts praying. Dash 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 N starts praying. Dash
J
dash
J O dash dash. Yeah. For me, it's just Matt. So it was like M starts praying. Dash dash TT starts praying. MA dash dash starts praying. It just keeps, and each one does like 12,000 damage or something like that. It keeps cutting back and forth.
Ridiculous amounts of damage, and then it finally says your full name.
Oh.
Johnny starts praying.
Oh.
You, the name of the player, starts praying and then
That's
destroys
amazing.
Gygus.
I love
This is some never-ending story bullshit, and I
Peter
love
Pan.
it. I am here for it. Yes, some Peter
The
Pan
fourth
bullshit.
wall has been broken.
Yes. And, oh god, Vanessa, you didn't get this horrible long ending.
No.
So, you start praying, you destroy Gygus, your robots fall, collapsed, but a spark of spirit flies out of them, each of the robots, and flies back into the bodies that the insane Dr. Andonetz has left lying in a field. And you wake up one by one. And everything's okay.
Hey, we did it.
And
Except
first,
for me.
Pooh says thank you, that he's got to go back home using another teleport spell he has. And he just disappears. Jeff thanks you. And you also... Oh, yeah, it's called like the farewell. Farewell. You get letters from from people, including Tony, who thanks Jeff. And it tells Jeff not to let anyone else read the letter because he cares about Jeff so much.
Mm-hmm.
You get a letter from the kids saying, Paula, come back and see us. We're so proud of you. And you get a letter from Ness's mom saying that she loves Ness. You don't get any letters from Pooh's family because Pooh was a poorly developed character who had no backstory.
And no letter from your dad, apparently.
Yeah, there's nothing. He just has a master and a different master. Then Jeff says goodbye because he's got to go hang out with his dad, with Dr. Adonut's, my dad. So he's going to try and get to know his father.
Mm-hmm.
Paula asks you to take her back to the preschool, or you could take her back to your house.
Mm-hmm. It depends on whether you want to honor a woman's wishes or just take her for your own into your own home against her will.
And now that's this is a thing that a lot of these 16-bit RPGs do, where you have like a victory lap where you can go everywhere and talk to everyone, and everyone in the whole game has something new to say.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Who has time for this, Vanessa?
Not me.
Who has... Well, you don't have time to finish the game. Who has time to...
I walked Paula back home and bid farewell, and then I went home and said hello to my mother, and then I turned the game off and deleted it, and I will never play it again.
But there's some fun stuff you can do. You can go back to the Tenda village and get the book.
Oh, the shyness book?
Overcoming Shyness, and return it to the library.
Oh, that's very responsible.
In return for this, you get the greatest reward.
What is it?
A smooch from the librarian lady.
Oh, boy. More adult women smooching Ness.
That happens a lot. You can go talk to Frank, who's now working at the burger stand. You can go talk to Mr. Monotoli, who has become an elevator operator, replacing the lady who hated her job because she was constantly sexually harassed. You can talk to Pokey's dad, who has become a drunk at the quote-unquote cafe, which is just a bar. It's not a cafe. He's obviously drunk. They keep saying that he's hiccuping on the espresso that he's drinking.
Too much espresso.
And the best is, I went to Pokey's house, and Pokey's mom is there with Mr. Gorgeous.
Oh.
Who's just this new man that's in her house, and she talks about how great he is.
All right.
So those two have some problems they probably need to talk through, like his drinking and her cheating on him with Mr. Gorgeous.
Well, maybe Mr. Gorgeous is a better father figure anyway.
It could be.
Pokey didn't turn out well. Picky's okay.
Yeah, Picky's fine. And finally, you can go back to your mom and look over the photo album of all the memories.
Yeah, that stalker guy who's been descending from the sky to take your picture every time shows up.
Oh, yeah,
right?
where do you access the pictures? I guess it doesn't matter now.
Just over the end credits,
here.
right?
It's over the end credit.
Oh,
yeah.
really? Oh, so it does start up end credits at some point? When?
When you go back and talk to your mom again, the second time, and she's like, well, do you want to go look over the photo album with me? And that's it. Then it rolls credits over photos of all the adventures you've had.
So did this
introduces
guy
all your characters.
Did your mom hire this guy to follow you around and take your picture for this photo album? Is that why he was around this whole game?
I hope so.
Yeah, that makes sense. And maybe she hasn't been as neglectful as we thought. Maybe she had this guy watching over them the whole time.
And he takes a picture of you at the end of the credits.
Oh.
Which is nice.
Me, the player?
You, the player.
How do I look?
You don't see it.
Oh.
Yeah. And then finally, you get a Marvel-style final scene.
Yes.
Where you wake up and you hear weird knocking at your door, just like at the beginning of the game. Mm-hmm. And you go to the door, and then Pokey is there.
It's Picky, isn't it?
No, it's Pokey.
Okay.
It's Pokey. And he says, come and get me?
Come and find me if you can.
Spankedy, spankedy, spankedy.
What?
He says spankedy, spankedy, spankedy.
What?
Spankedy, spankedy, spankedy is the final line of this game.
Excuse me?
Spankedy, 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 Vanessa.
Matt, are you hearing this?
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Spankedy, spankedy, spankedy.
What?
So, Pokey will return in the next game.
Did he return
I don't think
in
he
Mother
does.
3?
I don't think he does.
Oh, I don't know. It seems to be implying
Why would
that
he
it
return?
will.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Pokey
None of this makes
did
any sense.
die. Pokey is still around.
Spankedy,
So-
spankedy, spankedy.
That's it for Mother 3.
Actually, that's not true.
EarthBound.
Because I did just read that Ness and the gang make an appearance in Mother 3, so I guess it must be the same world? I just assumed it would be like a Final Fantasy thing with different takes on this, because it's just weird otherwise.
I guess not.
Well, spankety, 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 gang, we did it.
Yeah, we spankedied this game.
Oh, no.
We did it. Well, two of us
did we?
did it. Two of us didn't.
Yeah.
It's a real fucking bummer this time. So it's
We
not a
don't
hard
know.
game.
Jim
It was
could
not a
have done
long
it.
game.
I'd say it was a fairly hard. It's probably one of
That's
the hardest
actually
ones
true.
we played.
It got hard for me at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't screw around with old Gygus. Like, I had to focus up and actually play the game.
Yeah. This is, I think, maybe one of the Persona 3 was more difficult, but this is like definitely top 5 difficult games.
Well, that's it for this game, I guess. We'll discuss a little bit more in our Squarely Against section, but before we do that, should we talk about where we'll be playing to next week in our brand new game?
The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Bum, bum, bum.
Now, I'm going to assume Matt knows this game pretty well.
Nope. Don't have a very good memory, John.
Oh.
Don't
Vanessa?
know anything pretty well.
I have never played this game before. I think the only Zelda game I've ever played is Link to the Past. Oh, and also a little bit
tell you
of
what.
that side-scrolling computer Zelda game they made with like the computer graphics and stuff.
I'd say that we'll probably have to go through some opening bullshit that will be annoying. And then, obviously, we would want to do the first dungeon. I think maybe that would be a good stopping point. Let's say
I think we should do
two? First two dungeons?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to remember how much bullshit there is before you get to the first dungeon. Like, is it an hour? Is it 3 hours? How much bullshit running around is there before you get the sword and you get the shield and you get to the dungeon?
See, I've done the first chunker a bunch. How about getting to Goron City? That seems like a good stopping point. Or is there something right before that? Yeah, the end of the Lost Woods. That seems like a good...
Zelda,
That
Ocarina
looks
of
super
Time.
far into the game to me, but I guess we'll
It's
see.
really not. It's
All
really
right.
not.
Well, if you say so, we will get to the end of the Lost Woods. The Lost
All
Woods.
right. The Lost Woods.
The Lost Woods.
The Lost Woods.
Go ahead and talk about what we were squarely against for this game. It's the final episode, so it's kind of where we give our final squarely against for roundly 4 of the game. John, what say you?
I am roundly for this game. However, I'm squarely against a few elements. Number 1, the inventory is terrible. This is the game with the worst inventory, I think, because there's a lot of puzzles involving items needing to be in your inventory. It's so small. You get stuff all the time. You're always dealing with it. It sucks.
The whole Escargot Express gimmick where you can store items is awful.
Yes.
Time consuming.
Yes. I genuinely hated any kind of item management in this game. I just wish it just let you carry as much stuff as you need, because dealing with that wasn't fun. But overall, I really liked it. I think that it gets a little too hard for its own good. I think that pushes away a lot of people from finishing it. But the story's really interesting. I think it breaks down at the end. And I talked to everybody, and still people made fun of Jim for not understanding what was going on. But I did not understand what was going on at the end at all, really. Like,
people made fun of Jim for not understanding what was going on?
Oh, I talked to a listener who was making fun of Jim for not getting what was happening. But what happened at the end?
I mean,
it doesn't make any sense.
The game is this collection of broad stroke story bits that tie together to make a story, kind of. This is not exactly a deep narrative. I don't know. It's complicated.
Yeah. I think people read a lot into it because they love it so much.
I think there's a lot to be read into it, but it's kind of by its nature just the broadest of strokes of a plot, and and a bunch of random gobbledygook nonsense, and you kind of put it together yourself. But it's not my turn, is it? Sorry, John.
Yeah. Well, Matt, are you squarely against or roundly for?
I am roundly for the game. I thought it was pretty wonderful. I loved the enemy designs and the world. It was well done and fun and goofy and silly and cute. And I loved the never-ending story bullshit at the end where I had to pray to save my team. But as I was saying, it is, pretty bare bones. But also, incredibly complex if you want to kind of deep dive into what all this means, I guess. So, you know what? Roundly 4. What about you, Vanessa?
I did like this game. It was cute and interesting. I liked all the characters. I thought it was very funny. It made me laugh out loud at times, which is very unusual for me. I'm a very stoic lady. I liked Dungeon Man the best of anything I have ever seen. This is a good game. 5 out of 5. High recommend EarthBound, the game.
Yay!
Yay!
When are we going to do Mother 3?
What are you talking about?
It is absolutely possible to play Mother 3 translated into English legally at this point if you want to buy a physical cartridge, right?
Well, what Vanessa would have to do is get a Retron, because then you could buy a official Japanese cart, and then you could load a translation patch onto the Retron. So you're playing off a legal cart with a patch that gives you English text.
I don't go in for the illegal downloads.
There's no illegal element.
I agree. And that said, I don't think that the right time to play Mother 3 is now, because we just played Mother 2.
Yeah, so I'd
Download
like maybe in a couple
now
years.
Is what you're saying. All right.
We have several years to figure it out. I don't want to play it anytime soon. That's my answer about Mother 3.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun as hell, and I'm glad I played it.
Yeah, it is. I thought it got unfun sometimes when it was too hard.
I did not, I said this several times that I kind of did more of a walking tour of this game. But my experience was very positive for the most part. I was able to sit down most Sunday mornings and play for a couple, 3 hours and knock out everything I needed to knock out and really enjoy myself as kind of just a fun little thing to run through. But I can see how, even considering my characters were all level 99, I can see how getting through that last area would be a nightmare without the power of Andraste.
Andraste.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So we have this email from Tyler Petty called The Evil Dr. Andonuts. A few weeks ago in the Facebook groups, I mentioned Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, also made an EarthBound ROM hack about how bad Dr. Andonuts is. Here's a bit more about that. In the EarthBound Halloween hack, you play as a drifter bounty hunter named Varric, who is hired to eliminate someone. At the end of the game, you find out your target is Dr. Andonuts, and also why everyone has been saying how much they hate him throughout the game. The Halloween hack is set after the events of EarthBound, so it's more complicated than that. The idea behind the game is that Ness and Co. go back in time to fight Gygas. They create a new timeline where they defeat him, and that new timeline is what you're on when you return to the present and finish the original game. The hack, however, is set in the original timeline. Because Ness and Co. return to that new timeline, Gygas is still around, and everyone in the original timeline just thinks Dr. A turned his son and his friends into robots and then sent them to their deaths for no reason. Anyway, when you finally reach the doctor, you find out he ordered to hit on himself because he can't live with the guilt. Oh, no. At that point, you could either choose to kill him, which ends the game, or spare him, which takes you to Dr. Andonaut's version of Magic Hand, more or less his mind, where you destroy him once and for all.
What?
Oh, wow.
This is insane.
Oh, Toby Fox is an odd fellow.
Wow. I do like the idea of everyone thinking that he turned you into robots for no reason.
Yep. I do want to play Undertale eventually for this podcast, because that game is really good. And it's very much EarthBound inspired.
I'd like to play it.
It's pretty fun. And that's it for our email. Now we have a Patreon.
What?
If you'd like, you can support this podcast by subscribing to our Patreon. For $3 a month, you get all our bonus episodes.
All of them.
All right, so this month we're going to do a special playthrough of Dragon Age Awakening's DLC. We're going to talk about it, so we're giving it a review of the DLC as a piece of DLC. It's not going to be quite a traditional versus episode or anything. And next month, Hatoful Boyfriend. And then we got some other special stuff that Matthew has this amazing suggestion for a game that we'll play later that is going to be incredible, I think.
I have no idea. I fully expect it to be terrible, but, you know. It's a property that both Vanessa and I like a lot, so it's got that going for it.
The ranking episode, where Matthew, Vanessa, Jim, and I go through and figure out what game's the best and what one's the worst. It's pretty funny.
We did it.
We did that.
There's our Thanksgiving episode, which is incredible. I would go back and listen to that. It's
that one is a classic.
Yes. There's some game show episodes. There's a whole lot of stuff on that. And for $5 a month, you can help us vote and choose stuff. We'll have another choice for main series game later this year. And, we'll also have you help us choose another versus at some point or something, during this year. So for $5 a month, you become part of that insider elite club. We have patrons, and as a thanks for giving us cash, we will list you off now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read Jim's.
I want to do it.
Vanessa will read Jim's.
To Bumpkins, Miguel Torres, Andy Best, Chris Penyak, Mishi Draws, Race Jenkins, Dr. Steve Stone, James Hostetler, Label Sack, Andrew Granary, Vanessa's fourth mom, Cameron Show, Brady A. Berman, Florian Jonas Kramer, The Legend of Jared Collins, Breegirth,
PJ Enns, Jameson, Michael Crawford, Devin Sloan, Julian Titus is no longer disturbingly infatuated with Tracy Tanoff, Ashley T., Robert T., Aaron Bachman, Ross Hartley, Jerry Abisimus, Jerry, James, James Plett, my favorite pub sub are Ultimate and Chicks Tenders. I am sure Vanessa would. Fucking Ron. Those are my two favorites as well, Ron. That's hilarious. Lost a Battle of Wits 2. Metal Max Returns is great. We'll find true love with Zachary Davis.
Kyle, Justin Ham, Stu Skeel, Samu Mitchell, Gregory, Bobby Midkiff, Sean Walsh, Vanessa's mom, Tom, Eric Garby, I Have an Axe, David Shook, Bring Back Sierra Roots, Sean Gonzalez, Brian Stone, Vanessa's illegitimate son demands child support, shut up, boy, Owen Marble, Stephen Crock, Persona, Justin Benoit, Pad Kid poured curd, pulled cod, Brian Pitt, Cowman Mosser, Rusty Kamada, Huxley Iguana, and Ward Childress.
John Kissick, DJ Ethro. You're tearing me apart, Benjamin. You're tearing me apart, Benjamin Avner, Wonder Swan, Jonathan Ellsworth, David Whitney, Jason, Patrick W. Bears, Tyler Petty, Julia Zanella, Nathan Poirot. People who say man is the most dangerous game have never fought a duck. Robert M. Pullum, Jake Fuzzy Pickles Dickerson, who plays dead. Mary, Queen of Scoffs. Fine, say everyone's name, at least it annoys Matt. Cyril the Wolf. Oh, Brody Toy. George Armbruster. V is for Vanessa. Vanessa's mom. Ross Disney. Godzilla is a big fan of Randy Pierce. G. Bailey.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hey, friends, send us an email. Our email address is squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. If you want to have your letter read on the podcast, legitimately all you have to do is send it to us because we kind of read them all. You could also tweet at us at SquareRootsPod or hunt us down if you'd like on Facebook. Our Facebook group is the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. And you will find us on there daily, pretty much doing exactly what we've done for the last 2 hours.
sheltering from the hellscape that is the rest of Facebook.
Yep.
Or tweet at us at Square Roots Pod. And please go to Twitter and help make my picture of blue Pikachu go viral.
I think my video of me explaining what was it I was explaining? I was explaining the last episode of Game of Thrones has gone more viral than your blue Pikachu.
How dare you? Blue Pikachu forever. It's a battle now, so go to the Square Roots Twitter and decide what you like best. John explaining
and
Game of
retweet
Thrones.
the winner.
Or
look,
blue
we still have
Pikachu.
a Dragon Age picture as our background for Twitter.
Yeah, because
Oops.
Alistair's is dreamy.
All right. Thanks go to Extra Lives for their ska cover of Battle Against a Mobile Opponent. Check Extra Lives out at youtube.com/Extra Lives Music. Also, big thanks to Stephen Morris for his cover of Summers. This and a ton of other VGM covers are available on Stephen Morris's Spotify, iTunes, and more. Links for both are in the show notes. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't eat your microphone. So,
Sorry,
for Square Roots, I'm John Brandon.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
And I'm Vanessa.
Bye.
Spankedy, 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 spankedy. Jim is not coming. That's okay.
I think Jim got caught between the moon and New York City. Mm-hmm. And the best that he could do
The best that he could do.
is fall in love.
Arthur, he does what he pleases.
Jim. Jimothy does what he pleases. Every voice his master's choice.
Oh, what a good song.
Is it?
Now, see, if the club had been playing that, I would have been out on the floor.
He's just a boy.
Where do you go?
Living his life one day at a time. Find yourself a really good time.
You know so many of the words. I really only know the chorus and although he does what he pleases.
So, Matthew, what's your real level up? Well, we've literally bored Matthew off of the show
Yeah,
again.
Matthew left.
He left. So let's get started.
All
Hey.
right.
Who are you going to call, Vanessa?
I'm going to call my dad.
Call your dad.
Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. Hello? Who is this? I told you never to call here again.
Oh.
I have a new family now. You're dead to me.
Wow.
Oh.
That's horrifying.
Well, you know.
Doodle-doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Vanessa's dad.
It's time for the quest log.
It's time to call your dad.
All alone. Just pick up your phone. Who you gonna call?
Your dad.
Yeah. All right.